Okay, so next we've got Bill Barnes up. Bill has been in marketing and advertising and promotion industry for over 20 years. He co-founded Enquiro, now Mediative, a digital marketing company, in 1999. He's a featured speaker at events like Jupiter Media, SIPA, and Google's B2B Search Summit, among others. So he knows his stuff. Let us give him a hand and let's listen to his great presentation.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, got my mic. There we go. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for sticking around for the last guy. I appreciate that, and thank you to YPG, Anne-Marie, and Annie for inviting me here today. It's funny about hearing your own bio, and way back you would exaggerate how much experience you have, and hearing 20 years in marketing. It's actually about 25, but the older you get, the less you want to admit how long you've been doing something. So my name is Bill Barnes. I'm the Vice President of Business Development at a company called Mediative. I must be because it says so on the screen. And there it is. And let me tell you a little bit about Mediative and how it fits into the big picture. And then I'll talk a little bit about myself and why I've been invited here today. So Mediative is a brand new company, formed officially October 26th of last year. It was a conception of YPG, of the Yellowpages group. And it was formed because YPG is really, really good at helping local businesses perform locally. But where they were missing a bit of a piece of the puzzle was in some of their larger national companies, helping them to understand how to reach a larger audience through search, through some of their ad network products, and through various other things like that. So what YPG did, and by the way, they're an extremely forward-thinking company, and I'm delighted that they did this, they acquired 3-4 companies, put us all together to form Mediative. So Mediative has been functioning since last fall. So where did I come from, and what was the company I was a part of when I was acquired by YPG? So along with my business partner, Gord Hotchkiss, we co-founded a company called Enquiro back in 1999. That company was a search marketing outfit based in Kelowna, British Columbia. Very, very small. There was 3 of us working in a basement, although that's not as ugly as it sounds. It was actually a very nice basement. And we just launched a website to offer search marketing products. That's how we started. Back then, there was only SEO, search engine optimization. The art of manipulating, back then, code to get ranked number 1 on search engines like Excite, AltaVista, InfoSeek, Lycos. There was no Google. And it was, frankly, very easy to do. You just keyword stuffed code, you did tricks, you manipulated things to get ranked number 1, number 2. It was pretty easy. Then along came Google. And Google took the concept of search and decided that we didn't want people to be able to manipulate to get websites that may or may not be relevant, number 1 for any given keyword. We wanted people to actually find what they're looking for. Great concept. So they kind of stole the idea and made it better. They created this algorithm, which is incredibly complicated and very long, to help you find what you're looking for through relevant content. So the algorithm is designed to understand what a website is about, to match it with keywords that you're putting into the search box, and try to get you what you're looking for on the first page. And they're very good at it. It made our business quite a bit more complicated, because now we couldn't just manipulate things. We had to actually think about what a website was. How authoritative it is. How much content do we need to build to get it ranked well? So then, early 2000s, along came a company called Overture. Overture came up with a way to make money from search, because until then there was no way to do it. A couple tried it and disappeared, like AltaVista, Lycos. They all tried to do it, but it didn't work. They came up with the pay for position, the bidding mechanism, the auction site. So the more you bid, the higher you were ranked on the paid side, but they blended that with organic. That Overture site was bought by Yahoo. They then incorporated the paid search onto their page. Google liked that idea, stole that one too, and made it better. Google has never actually created anything on their own, just so you know. but they're very good at improving things. They said, that's great, but it shouldn't be the person with the most money who gets their ad there. Let's make that relevant too. And Tracy talked a little bit about that, and I'll talk more about it. But it's now what they do with their paid searches, they look at how relevant is the site to the keyword that they've actually bought, and they use something called a quality score to rank it well. So now you've got paid search, you've got organic search on the same page. As an agency, we realized that we needed to start to understand more about a search results page. Where were people looking? What were they clicking on? Did they actually look at sponsored ads? Did they know they were sponsored ads? Did they click on something, go to a website, then come back, click, go back? Or did they just click and buy? All that kind of stuff was percolating in our idea. It was all about user behavior, the kind of stuff that Leonard was probably thinking about back in 2003. So we went looking for research. And we knew Google knew what was going on, but they weren't telling anybody, and we couldn't find any. Nobody was looking into what was happening on a search results page. So, a business opportunity for us. So we created a research division, which sounds really impressive, but it was us calling friends and family in and doing a little bit of research. But over time, that developed into a pretty robust product line for us. And we did research to understand where people were looking and what they were doing. I'll talk more about that a little bit later. So then along came social media, and by the way, social media, I love the way Leonard said, it's just a term. It's not actually a product. But never in the history of mankind have so many agencies become experts at one thing in such a short period of time. As soon as we came up with the term social media, everyone was doing it. We all got it. It's not that simple. And that brings us to where we are today. As I said, we were acquired last fall. So we've built a company, much like you, from small business to medium business to being acquired. These are some of the companies before being acquired and we continue to do work for. And I show this because I'm very proud of it, but also to let you know that through my presentation, what I'm hoping to translate to you is what some of these big companies that we're working for are doing, you can learn from and you can do the same thing. Because search is somewhat of a level playing field. Yes, the more money you have, the better you can play, but at the same time, there is opportunities for you. I also want to point to a couple of clients that are up there. Google, Microsoft, and Yahoo read our research, said, hey, that's interesting stuff. We would like you to do some research for us. So in addition to doing search marketing, we also have helped them to understand how people are interacting with their own search results page. We did some work when they were developing Bing. We did some work with Google and Yahoo as well. So let's talk about user behavior specifically to search. So kind of taking what Leonard was talking about, but how do we make that a practical application to what we do today? Not a year from now, today. So this is a mantra that we've been saying for a number of years now, and it has not really changed that much. Search is the connection between intent and content. It sounds simple, but it's really not. When someone sits down at a computer to launch a search, or opens up their mobile device to launch a search, or whatever mechanism they want, what is going on in their mind? What's their intention? Do they want to buy something? Do they want to research something? Do they want to talk about something with their friends? Do they want to read reviews? What is it? The more you can understand that intent, the better you can provide content to match that intent. And as business owners and marketers, it's our job to make sure that there's enough rich content about your business, about your products, about your services, that you can match the intent of the user. And where intent and content meet is search. No one wakes up in the morning and says, I think I'm going to go on Google today and search. They wake up in the morning and say, I want to buy a pair of shoes. Search just happens to be there. It's not a destination, it's a tool we use. So I call this the 5 foundations of search marketing, but anyone with a marketing degree will know this is the 5 foundations of marketing. Get the right message to the right person, in the right place, at the right time, and deliver the right experience. Really, if you take the top 2, right message, right person, that's intent. The bottom one, deliver the right experience, that's content. The middle 2, right place, right time, that's search. And when I say search, I don't necessarily just mean Google, Yahoo, and Bing. I mean directory sites like YP and others. I mean Facebook, where you might be looking for something through your network of friends. So just to reiterate, I know Tracy went over this, but I do want to talk a little bit about this. The organic section is there. Those are the results that Google determines are the most relevant based on that incredible algorithm that's constantly changing. But the bottom line is, the more authoritative, the more relevant your site and your content is, the more likely you're going to show up here with your specific keywords. And by the way, when it comes to keywords, I'll talk more about that later too, don't try to be too broad with those. Don't go after books, go after Toronto Downtown Bookstore. Then you've got your top sponsored. These are the premium sponsored spots. These are the ones you want to be in if you can afford to do so. Again, it's a blend of how much you pay and how relevant your landing page is to the keyword, how relevant your ad copy is to the keyword. That's called quality score. Google gives you a quality score and then ranks it based on that. By the way, it's also based on how many people actually click on that. The more who click, the more relevant it must be in Google's eyes. And then you've got side sponsored, which is the same thing, but you're not going to get quite as good traction, but still perform very well there. So I talked a bit about our research, and this was our first major research project we did. We use a methodology called eye tracking, which takes a look at where you're looking on the page, how long you fixate on something, and then what we do is take the clickstream data and mesh the two together. What you're looking at is a search results page of Google with a heat map over top. That's an aggregated heat map of several hundred people, and this is where they looked. What we discovered was Google's golden triangle, a great marketing message that took us from being a small business in Kelowna to one of the preeminent companies who understand online user behavior in the world. So this is very near and dear to my heart, this chart. I don't use it that much anymore in presentations because it is the most used graph when someone is talking about search at any search conference you'd ever want to see. But what it's showing you is not that we all read a page from the top left to the right, which is what most people think when they first see this. What we're looking at is the eyes are attracted to the most relevant content. That triangle is the area where there's most likely what we're looking for. And in fact, they are. Google does it very well because that's where the eyes went. Google's golden triangle. So we did it for other search engines as well. Remember, this is back in 2003, 2004, so this is quite old. The one in the middle, which is called Live, was the old Microsoft. They kept changing their name, MSN, Microsoft. It's now Bing, but I have to call it what it was at the time. It was called Live Search. And then Yahoo on the far left-hand side. And you'll notice a big difference between Google and Microsoft, and the reason for that is twofold. One, Microsoft was having a heck of a time trying to get relevant results on their search results page, so it meant the eye had to follow further down and look for it. The other thing is they didn't use bolding of the keywords in the ad copy. You know how Google, when the results come up, you can see the bolding throughout? So the eyes were sort of scattering all over the place. Shortly after this, they included bolding. That's a hint for later on. Yahoo looks a little bit different than Google. The reason for that is when we did this test, Yahoo had 4 sponsored results at the top. So people they read the sponsored, but then wanted to get to the organic to anchor themselves to make sure, is this a relevant page or not? So that's eye tracking. Remember, search is the connection between intent and content. Intent, for all intents and purposes, is keywords, but not necessarily the keywords that they type into the search result box. The keywords that are part of the intent, part of the experience that they're enjoying while online. Part of that, am I buying? Am I looking for reviews? What am I doing? It's semantic mapping. It's understanding what people are thinking about, not just what they're typing into the search results box. We did some research into this, and we took a group of people and we said, we want you to go buy a digital camera online. Sat them down, launched Google, and just before they typed digital camera into the search box, we said, stop. What are you thinking about? What's going on in your mind right now? And we got all kinds of great feedback from them. Some said, I'm looking for a certain number of megapixels. Some were looking for brands, Kodak, Nikon, Sony. Some were looking for reviews. Some were looking for just product information. Some were looking for price, free delivery. All that stuff was dancing around in their heads, but yet they still typed in digital camera into the search results box. So all those other things that are in their head, those are hidden keywords. Those are the kind of things you need to understand when you're building ad copy, when you're working on your online portfolio. So what happened? This is that little dot at the top is an animation. It's not an actual heat map, but it takes where the heat of an aggregate group of people scanned over a page. So if you watch that move down the page, you'll see that there's hesitation at various keywords, but not just the keywords that are digital camera, also those keywords that were going on in their head. Some people looked at reviews, some people looked at megapixels and brand names and that kind of thing. So the more you can understand that intention, what's going on in someone's mind, the more you can create content, you can write your ad copy to match that. Let me give you a real-world example of how that works. So I'm going to use myself as an example. 2 different searches, 2 different intents, same set of keywords. So in this particular example, coming up in a couple of days is my brother-in-law's birthday. He lives in Winnipeg. We're friends. I don't really like the guy. In fact, I don't like him at all, but I like my sister a lot. So I want to keep peace in the family. So I want to buy him a birthday gift. I don't really care if he enjoys the gift, but it's got to look like I spent a little time thinking about it. I know, and much to my surprise, the guy can read. And I know he likes John Irving. So I know a book is Until I Find You by John Irving. So I'm going to buy him that book online, get it shipped to him as fast and as cheaply as I can, so I'm done with it. So I type in Until I Find You, John Irving, into the search results box, in this case using Yahoo. And up pops a result that matches my intent. Cheap, easy shipping, whatever, kind of keywords, hidden keywords that I'm looking for. Even though I typed in the name of the book, I knew what I was looking for. In this case, it happened to be Amazon, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. So I click on it, buy the book, ship it to him. He's happy. My sister's happy. I don't have to talk to this guy until I see him at Thanksgiving, so that's good news. All right. So let's take a look at that same scenario, only this time I'm buying a book for myself. And I kind of like myself. And I do like one John Irving novel, the other one not so much. So I'm thinking about buying Until I Find You by John Irving for myself. But I'm not ready to actually buy yet. I want to read some reviews and see if I can find somebody who read the book I liked and likes this one, or read the book I didn't like and doesn't like this one, just so I get a sense of it. My time is valuable, at least I think it is. I want to make sure I'm going to enjoy a novel before I start reading it. So same thing, I type in the search results box, Until I Find You by John Irving. Same results come up, but this time my eyes are attracted to something that talks about reviews. And I'm thinking, okay, that's where I want to go. Interesting enough, the review, I don't know if you can see it or not, says something about being a flabby belly flop of a book. So this person didn't like it. If I click on that, read the reviews, and there is an opportunity for me to buy from there, that's great news. So I will do that. Here's a lesson for local marketers. If you have a local bookstore and you're online and you're beside Amazon, how can you compete against them? Do you compete on price, on easy shipping, on someone who's buying a book for a birthday present and doesn't really care? Or is there a way for you to get me interested in coming down to your bookstore and talking about John Irving? Remember, you bought that keyword, so you can write the ad copy you want, and you can be specific to that keyword. We have people in the store who love talking about John Irving. If I saw that, I would get in the car and go down to a local bookstore. That's how you compete against the Amazons in the world. You find the differentiating factor, you look at what they're doing online, you say, okay, that intent is for someone who wants to buy that right now. My bookstore is built for people to discuss, and that's what I want to do. So another bit of research we did that talks further about that and talks about personalized results. Leonard talked about how things are being tracked online and what your user behavior is. That's something that Google's been working on for quite some time, delivering personal results. So if you search for Until I Find You by John Irving, you're going to see different results than you and me based on your personal activity online. That's got a huge creepy factor to it, so Google's being very careful about unveiling that. Right now it's really about where you live more than anything else. But we wanted to do some research for Google to help them understand the impact of that. And that's where this comes in handy. So what we did was we took a group of people who allowed us to, we'll call them subjects, but they were really victims. They allowed us to watch their activity online. They allowed us to see what sort of websites they like to look at. Do they like news sites, shopping sites? Do they like reviews, blogs, Twitter? What is it they like to do? So we just tracked that for a while. Once we got that data, we did 2 search scenarios. The page on the left is a basic search results page. We didn't manipulate it at all. We just said, here it is. The one on the right, we manipulated that search results page and put really relevant, personalized content in positions 3, 4, and 5. And what we found was people were attracted to that relevant content. They looked further down the page because they saw that there was content that related to what their intent was. They liked it. The fact that there's that creepy factor aside, this is something you can take advantage of. If you know the personality, the intent of your customer, you can design personalized ad copy for them. Now, impossible to do something different for everyone, but if you kind of get a feel for what they're looking for and what they want to find, you can do that. The results were absolutely amazing. When you think about it, most of us click on the 1, 2 top sponsored, maybe 1, 2, 3 search results. What we found was double the time looking at the ad, double the time of fixation, which means actually reading the copy that was in it, and more than triple the number of clicks on a personalized result versus just a generic result. It's amazing. One more quick research thing that we did, because this one is pretty cool. Remember that the area of greatest promise, that Google's golden triangle, is in the top left-hand side. Microsoft hired us to do some research. We didn't know that they were working on Bing at the time, but they were really interested to know if Google's relevancy quality score for paid search was really that important to people. They wanted to find out if, as a user, you saw that the search results page was relevant, would you, or from the ad perspective, or could you wait till you got to organic? Here's what we did. We took the very top sponsored ad. That's the only thing that was changed on this page. 2 different versions of them. One good, one bad. The good copy was great. It spoke directly to the intent of the customer. The bad copy was not gibberish, but it was really generic. It didn't really speak to anyone personally. And so what we did was we showed the 2 different pages, 2 different search scenarios to a group of people. And what we found was, remember, we only changed that top result, that one line. Nothing else on the page was changed. And the results were absolutely outstanding. With the good copy, what you're seeing here with the blue bars is when it was the good copy. It spoke to the person. The red copy is the bad copy. And the questions we asked, would you launch a similar search? Would you tell your friends about this search engine? Do you like the search experience? And without exception, it was yes, yes, yes if it was good copy, and they hated it when it was bad copy. They didn't know why. It was just one line changed. They judged that entire page on that top line. That's how important the greatest area of promise is. So let's talk specifically about SEO and SEM. Tracy touched on this a little bit. Remember, search is the connection between intent and content. Intent, for this purpose, equals keywords. And remember, it's not just the keywords they type, it's also semantic mapping. So let's talk about keywords. Let's talk about how we come up with those. First thing you want to do is brainstorm. Get your staff together. Just think about all your products and everything that you can list out. The more you can list that out and get a feel for it and then group it into groups, the better you are to do it. And by the way, once you've brainstormed with your staff, family, friends, anyone who will listen to you, brainstorm with your clients. Brainstorm with the people who actually use your products and services. And if you're tired of asking people when they come in the store, go online. Go to Twitter. Go to Facebook. Use social and find out where your audience lives. Second time you've heard that today. And engage in the conversation with them and find out what they're talking about. And I'm quickly running out of time here. So also check your competitors. What are they doing? What are they calling your products and services? Search engine referrals refers to those coming off of search. You can look at your logs, your analytics, see what keywords people are finding you by now. Internal search function, if you have a search box on your website, what are people typing in there? What are they using? Natural language is really important. If you're in marketing or business owner, we tend to like to call products and services cutesy marketing names. Speak like your customers do. Is it a trash receptacle or is it a garbage can? Whatever they call it, that's what you want to use online. So I'm going to talk a little bit about spiders. Spiders are, for all intents and purposes, bots that the search engines use to crawl your website to determine how relevant it is. They're like a customer who's absolutely obsessed with you. They follow every link. They read everything. They look at all the pictures. They look at everything to help you or help them understand, what is this website about? If someone types in a keyword, when should this website come up? So it's important to know that, because if your site isn't built correctly, you're not going to get these spiders looking at everything you've got. So there's 3 keys to SEO: content, content, and more content. First, create as much as you can. Make your site as big as you can with as much content as you can. Secondly, unlock it. By that, this is where it gets a little bit technical. You want to make sure that if you've got a page of content over here, the spider can easily find it. And that's as far as I'll go on that, but obviously there's some technical things you need to do that. And then share it with the world with linking. Both speakers have talked about that. And then once you've done that, create a lot more content. What is content? Most people think it's just text. It's blocks of text, but it's not. It's everything that you write if it's online. It's photos. Those can be optimized for search. It's videos. It's microsites, podcasts, webinars, white papers. Everything that you do needs to be associated with your website and linked so that it all becomes authoritative. If you put out a press release, that press release should be part of your website. If you have corporate information or pamphlets, rewrite it, put it on your website. The more content you have, the better. And by the way, photos is a great way to be found online, because they've started showing up on search results pages in what's called blended search. So tons of photos of your product, your services, your store, your staff, everything. Make sure they're optimized. So sponsored search, real quickly. The top and the side. Refresh your memory. 3 keys to sponsored search. Test, test, test. It is such a great forum to test different messaging, different ad copy, because you can run different ad copy in the morning than in the afternoon. Which one works better? You can even run different ad copy from 9 to 10, from 10 to 11, and 11 to 12. It's really easy to do. So say you do 2 different ad copies one day, one of them wins, then you go the next day, have a new competitor, and just keep doing that. Just keep testing, testing, testing. So that's the advantage of paid search. Then you can take your results and incorporate that back into SEO, because they work together. So test your targeting. Make sure your target market is right. Test your ad copy and your landing pages to make sure that the results are happening, and then keep testing. A few bullet points for you to look at as far as best practices are concerned. For the sake of the webcast, understand your target market, attract a qualified audience, coach the click, encourage people to come onto your site, allow visitors to convert in a way that is natural to them. Don't force them to fill out a form before they're ready to do it. Monitor performance. Make sure you have analytics on your website. It's free. Google's Analytics is a great tool, and it's free. So why wouldn't you use it? Why wouldn't you know what your ROI is? Write ad copy to match intent. Use keywords. Remember semantic mapping. Remember those hidden keywords, what people are thinking about. Test different ad copy, and make sure your landing pages match the ad. Make sure that the experience from when they do their search, read your ad, click on your site, is all consistent and natural to them and feels good. 10 mistakes people make: not understanding intent, not using the same language as their target market. Basic optimization, or SEO, is not done. You'd be surprised at some of those clients that you saw right off the bat, huge Fortune 500s, not doing basic SEO because they're looking at the shiny object. How do I get on Facebook? How do I get on mobile? Do basic SEO first. Landing page is too generic, no analytics in place. It's free. Broadly defined ad groups, in other words, all your keywords out here instead of putting them into categories. Set it and forget it mentality. You can't do that. You've got to keep working it. Focused on click metrics instead of ROI or conversion metrics. It's not how much traffic you get, it's how much money you're making from that traffic. Not doing day parting, which we kind of talked about. And big three, blindness. There's not just Google, Yahoo, and Bing out there. There's lots of directory sites. There's lots of sites you should look at. Try them all. Test them. Whichever one performs best for you, focus on that, but use them all if you can. I'm going to leave you with one final thing. Thanks for giving me a couple extra minutes. Inquiro was set up as a small business. We had no marketing budget for the first 5-6 years that we were a company. And we succeeded in becoming a mid-sized company and then being acquired by using online without spending any money. It can be done. We competed against some very big agencies and won. So you can do it too. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
You know, it's always nice to hear from somebody that's been there and done that and teaching us how to do it. I always feel very, very comfortable with that, and I really appreciate that Bill shared his story with us. So we've got a couple of questions. Remember, if anybody wants to go to the side, you can go to the side and ask us questions. But also remember that we're recording this webinar. So everybody, in the next 48 hours, we'll have a copy of the recording. So let's say the next 2 days, we'll have a copy of the recording, so you'll all be entitled to the recording. But let's just go through some questions. Okay, so I've got a couple of online questions here. The first one is, I hear people speaking about Google Places pages. Do I need a Google Places page?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's another opportunity for you to find a new audience. So I would absolutely. It's a great tool, especially for local businesses, small businesses. Google Places is a good place to be. Absolutely, it's no question.
Okay, so we got another question here. Earlier on in your presentation, you mentioned the importance of content, and you said it 3 times on the screen. Where do we get this content from?
Yeah, great question. And it's annoying to hear it 3 times over and over, but that's how important it is. So content is, as I mentioned, anything that you're currently doing. So product descriptions and that kind of thing. If you're a business owner and you're the only one there, you can't spend all your time writing and writing and writing. So there is content development companies out there that you can hire to do it, but do the best you can. Photos are a great way to do content. Anyone can take photos, and whoever your webmaster is or design company, or if you do it yourself, upload those photos. Make sure that they are tagged with specific keywords, so not just JPEG 1, but image of product, whatever, garbage cans, that kind of thing. So content is kind of whatever you want. Where to get it from, you're going to have to develop it yourself or go out and get someone to write it for you. But taking a brochure that you've already got, rewriting that, putting it on the web is one way to do it.
As a small business owner, I often realize how we're doing so many things wrong. So this is what I like about having somebody like Bill educating us. Do you have a couple of questions on the side there?
Yeah, I think you kind of just answered the question about optimizing your photo, but can you tell us a little bit more about how you would do that in terms of optimizing photos?
Sure. There's really only one way to do it, and that is the name of the photo, whatever the image is when you're inserting it into your website. That's where you put keywords as to what the photo is. You know, when you scan over photos on a website and a little sort of thing pops up to tell you what that photo is, that's the thing that can be optimized. So keywords, it can't be huge. It's just got to be, garbage can or that kind of thing. Don't overuse one particular keyword either, by the way. You want to mix it up a bit. So that's why I said brainstorm, come up with a big list. So it's really, there's only so much you can do about it. The other thing, though, is make sure your photos are linked to what's called anchor text. So link your photos to a page of content about that photo, and vice versa. So if you've got that page of content, for a picture of it, click here. A picture of the garbage can, click here. Make sure that's optimized too, so that they're now interlinked and it's all kind of called the same. So the spider crawls out and goes, okay, that's a picture of a garbage can. That's content about a garbage can. I don't know why I'm using garbage can as an example, but apparently that's the word of the day. And that's how you optimize for photos.
Okay, we got another question. Keep it short and sweet.
Sure. Hi, Bill. My name is Dean Correa. I own a company that specializes in training workshops and security services for businesses, so I'm just in the process of building my website. And I'm curious your opinion in terms of which search engines or online directories are more effectively viewed on a mobile device.
Well, right now I would say Microsoft and Bing are doing a really good job, and Google. For directory, to be honest, they're not paying me to say this, well, they kind of are. YP is one of the most downloaded apps right now in Canada, and it's great. So the YP app, Google, and Bing are probably your best three for mobile right now.
Okay, the final question.
Okay, regarding boiling point, $1.41 a gas today. Thank you very much. Question number 2. I'm very active, okay, on internet, Google. I pay Yellowpage $500,000 for 25 years. Okay, my question is, half of the email which I receive, response from the Google, okay, they are fake customer, okay? They actually offer me, okay, search engine optimization. So they come, they click, okay, and I have nothing. There is any way to fight with this?
So the traffic you're getting from Google is just not converting for you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so they come, fill up my form, okay, and they try to sell the products.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, that's the
Nothing
problem
we
with
can
being out there for the world to see. So if you're paying for the ads on Google, I would test your ad copy to try to refine the people that are coming to it as much as you can, so that you discourage those trying to sell you something. By the way, it's impossible to get rid of that altogether. But if you can refine it the best you can. If it's the organic, if you're not doing that, take a look at what the ad copy says in the organic. Google pulls that from different places. Sometimes from a page, sometimes from a directory site. Find out where they're pulling that ad copy from. Go back to your website and change that to try again to discourage it. But to be honest, you really can't get rid of that. The only way to completely get rid of it is to have a no-follow tag so Google can't see your site, but then you're missing your customers too. So I wouldn't advise that. It's tough.
Okay, so just one last question, just an online question, and then we're going to wind it all up and wrap it all up. So this person's in Toronto. In what order do you value? So you got PPC or pay-per-click ads, articles, photos, podcasts, keywords, and design of website. I realize they've said everything, but which would you value as the most important?
Yeah, great question. So it kind of depends on what your user or what your customer is looking for. In the case of Inquire, I'll speak about us. We knew that our marketing advantage was the research we were doing. So we had lots of white papers. We had lots of educational things. We wanted to position ourselves as thought leaders. If that's what your target audience is looking for, that's what you do. If people want to look at pictures of your product, go with pictures. It all boils down to whatever your customer expects to experience from your content. So there's no magic formula. It's not do this first and you'll get ranked number one, do this. Do what is right for your customer. That's the beauty of SEO, really, at the end of the day, is what's right for your customer is also right for the search engines. So the spiders like the same thing that your customers do. They're just customers on steroids. They look at everything. So build it for your customers first. Make sure that your content is unlocked. That's the trick to SEO, and it will naturally happen for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Bill. Okay, and I encourage every single one of you to go and check out what YPG is doing for small business. So contact the Yellowpages group. We've got a couple of people here. That's what we need to do. But I'm just going to summarize the day. So we started off with Leonard Brody speaking about the future. And it's always nice to know, nice to hear what people think is going to happen in the future. I was really excited to hear that small business is going to play a very, very important part. And then we had Tracy speaking about the importance of SEO and SEM, and just some of the stuff that was really, really interesting. And then we had Bill Barnes at the end. But I'd really like to thank Yellowpages. I think they did a really superb job. Anybody that runs events and supports small business, I believe you and I should be supporting. And I thank them very, very much for that. And for every single one of you, I want to thank you very, very much for your interest and for attending the live event or the webcast. There were quite a few hundred people online. So the attendance is really exceeding our expectations. Well, exceeded mine anyway. So what YPG is looking at doing is organizing more of these events. So if you see them advertising and you see them promoting, I encourage every single one of you to go out there, check them, attend these events. It's small business events like this that you and I learn from, that we learn from the experts. And this is the way we build successful businesses. So I encourage every single one of you to keep learning. For those people in the webcast, thank you very, very much for attending the webcast. Remember, we'll have the recording up in the next 48 hours. You use the same link. Thank you very much, and hopefully you learned a couple of things.